Hey gang, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm continuing a really fun series where I'm taking isolated solo vocal tracks. I'm doing an analysis, a singing tutorial, talking about the recording process, the orchestration, instrumentation, some backstories on the band, etc. You name it. Next up is Queen, The Show Must Go On. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would be really cool. Please don't forget, for you guys that want to learn how to sing, I have a singing course. The course is called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else. You can find it right here at kentamplinvocalacademy.com, where I also have a free singing forum with over 20,000 people in there, all negotiating how to get great at singing, okay? So without much further ado, I'm gonna get started. Freddie Mercury, Show Must Go On. Now you guys know that this is his sort of swan song, and for you that don't know what a swan song is, it's the last song someone does, or a swan does before they die. In fact, that's Swan Song Records, with Led Zeppelin was on way back in the day. That was sort of the impetus behind that name. And this is no exception. Now my understanding, before we talk or get into too much of the actual singing part of this, is that I guess Brian May brought Freddie the song. Now, Brian had tried to do it himself, not to sing it, but to write it and help, the orchestration, and said it was even too high for him to sing in falsetto. So he was concerned that Freddie couldn't really even sing the song because Freddie was really far along in his AIDS and some serious health issues. And apparently Freddie said, just effing give it to me, darling, and I'll sing it. Threw a couple of shots of vodka down, bam, sang the song, and died shortly thereafter. Died just right around the release date of the song. So anyway, so have a mindset of Freddie's physical condition and how he was able to just man up to the song, just really just give it his all. And the story is pretty telling. So let's just start and we'll talk about it and do more on the way and add in some instrumentation in a minute.
Empty spaces, what are we living for? Abandoned places, I guess we know the score. On and on, does anybody know what we are looking for?
Now, so I get the feeling that Freddie is not trying to give you as much nuance as he has in the past with a lot of his music. It's pretty straightforward. He knows he's gonna die. He's talking about how the show must go on, or the show must go on. He wishes maybe with him, but then he's even saying that, he can't wait to get out of this body. And he had a few of those songs. In fact, I just came off of doing Somebody to Love. Ironically, Freddie said that was his favorite song of all the Queen stuff, and it was his statement of faith, or his testimony about his belief in God and so forth. And so this is his, I don't want to say epitaph, but it's just definitely his final words and message to everybody. And so you kind of really get that. So he's really straight. Go, empty spaces, what are we living for? Right? I guess we know the score. And he's got this real straightforward approach to it. He's not going to go, empty spaces, what are we living for? With his very melodramatic approach. He's just, bam. He's just going to took his shots of whiskey, or I think vodka, gonna sing the song and tell you what he thinks, okay? So really have a view towards that as we're continuing on in this.
Another hero, another mindless crime behind the curtain, in the pantomime. Hold the line, does anybody want to take it anymore? The show must go on.
Okay, now up to there, it's pretty straight. The whole song's pretty straight. Now, I want you to think about something. Apparently, according to Brian May, he was so sick he could hardly get out of bed. Think about that. So, show must go on! He's just like, wow! Okay, I am going to be present for my last epic swan song, so to speak, right? And we're hearing that, and it's kind of creepy. It kind of gives you the chills if you're really thinking about it. And you're not just thinking, oh, it's another Queen song, what a cool song. No, it's like, this was what he was leaving planet Earth with that he wanted us to know about. Okay, let's continue. Here we go. Next line, here.
The show must go on, yeah. Inside my heart is breaking, my makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on.
Okay, now think about the lyric of this for a second. You know, inside my heart is breaking, my makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on. That is that's why it's funny he even says pantomime in one of the lines coming up, is that a lot of time, not all the time, but a lot of time within the theater world, the thespian mask, and also comedians are very notorious for this as well. They're actually crying. Tears of a Clown. Remember that song? There actually is a dark, morose, or morbid kind of backdrop to a lot of this, but they have to only show their front to the world. And so he's giving you not just a hint towards that, but he's coming out and he's saying, I know I'm dying inside over here, but to the stage and to the world, I'm going to present only my front to the world, and I'm going to smile. I'm going to take it like a man, a woman, whatever. And he's going to literally, give us his all in the performance, because the show must go on. Now, it's not just the show within Queen as a band, it's the show of life. Life must go on. Everything else is going to continue to go on. I may, have to step out of this picture, but everything else is going to continue to go on. And he's just trying to leave us with that picture as he's painting this picture as we go.
Inside my heart is breaking, my makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on.
Great, honest performance. Here we go. Next line.
Whatever happens, I leave it all to chance. Another heartache, another failed romance. On and on. Does anybody know what we are living for? I guess.
Okay, now, interesting. So the song took a key change, went up in typical Queen fashion. They're not going to just do the same thing over and over again. So not only is it in one key that he's throwing down, but he's stepping up the plate and moving it and ramping up and just literally giving it all he's got as we're moving up the food chain. The other thing too is not only can I not tell that he's sick, I think this is one of his better high-range vocal performances from a pitch standpoint, from just being spot on, straight ahead, selling the song in a very simplistic kind of way. But he's not missing any notes, and I don't hear any weakness in his body here at all, per se.
I guess I'm learning. I must be warmer now. I'll soon be turning round the corner now. Outside the dawn is breaking, but inside in the dark I make it to be free.
Okay, so he's talking about he knows where he's going. He just wants to get out of this world, get out of this mess. And he's talked a few times in a few other songs about this exact same thing. I think that's pretty telling.
The show must go on.
Queen vocals.
The show must go on. Yeah. Ooh, inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on.
Okay, cool. Now, before I forget, it also has a very kind of haunting. Right, we got kind of these, flat 5e kind of things going on, in the background vocals and stuff. So it gives you kind of a netherworldly feel, and the video is kind of like that too. But I think that's great songwriting. So that we're going to, and okay, I'm going to go out of this life, and I'm going on into the next life, whatever that means. And they really convey that from an instrumental standpoint in the song. I think that's also very interesting. Next line, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move up here.
My soul is painted like the wings of butterflies. Fairy tales of yesterday will grow but never die. I can fly, my friends. The show must go on.
Cool. Now, the reason I wanted to keep playing that was I remember when I first heard that part of the song and I went, oh, that's a left turn they did. I don't really like. Right? Because it's kind of a little too happy clappy for me. It's not my thing, because I think Queen was smarter than that. But then I realized that he's reminiscing about his life and about the happy times and the joys and the this and the that. And he's even saying that in the lyric. And it does take you to that place. It takes you away from that kind of morose, morbid minor key. I'm going to die. So must go on. You know, what's that? Yeah. Goodbye, my friends. It's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. You know, you guys know. We had joy. We had fun. We had seasons in the sun. It's got that kind of flavor, that melancholy kind of flavor to it. And so like that song, Seasons in the Sun, for you guys that know the song, that song does it too. And he's kind of like doing that here in a way, in his own way. So now when I listen to it, I think of the genius of it rather than the part that I didn't like. So let's listen to it again. Just my own little thing here, but I thought I'd bring it up. Here we go.
My soul is painted like the wings of butterflies. Fairy tales of yesterday will grow but never die. I can fly.
Cool. So he's singing, you know, my soul is painted with wings of butterflies. I mean, what great poetry and imagery. But he's saying, when I get out of here, I'm going to catapult out of this body and careen into eternity, right? I hope that we all know, you know, what it is eternity's all about, and I hope we really recognize what that really means. It may or may not be wings of butterflies, depending on how you live this life and who you believed in when you lived this life. But he's actually expressing that he's not no regrets, no this, no that. He was the champion. You know, he did it his way, and sort of said. In fact, he even said that on "We Are the Champions" as sort of his version of "We Will Rock You" or "We Are the Champions." We're the champions. Yeah, I remember him saying that. You know, his Frank Sinatra version, "I did it my way," you know, kind of thing, and he wanted to leave other people so that they could sing that and chant that with him. So he's kind of like catapulting himself again into eternity, and we sort of see that from that line of that song. But let's get to it.
Let's go on. Let's go on. Yeah. Show must go on. Go on. I'll face it with a grin. I'm never giving in. On with the show.
Right? So now I do hear something interesting. I hear his voice being a little thinner, okay? And that's probably due to his sickness, probably due to the fact that he hadn't been singing a lot, so he didn't have the girth and the fatness of a lot of the other stuff that he did, but he's certainly killing it, and he's not missing a single note. Now, before I forget, I did a version of this with my student Sarah Loera, and I also posted one with Dino Jalusic, and I'll post both of those in the description, and if I forget, you know, look them up on YouTube, but where they both did awesome jobs of this. Dino just crushed it too. He just did a fantastic job. But I mentioned that because we did take stabs at this at KTVA, and it's not that easy of a tune to sing. I mean, it's straight up. It's so, for a guy in his deathbed to be able to pull this off is pretty remarkable if you ask me. But anyway.
Ooh, I'll top the bill. I'll overkill. I have to find the will to carry on with the show. Show must go on.
Okay, and then the harmony repeats itself. Now let's bring in the band a bit so we can kind of get a flavor for how this sounds in the music, because it's one thing to hear it alone, another thing to hear it with the track.
Empty spaces, what are we living for? Abandoned places, I guess we know the score.
See, you're kind of set up for melodrama right away. It's like a very kind of melancholy sort of thing, and it kind of makes you go, what is he talking about? You know, empty spaces, what are we living for? We're going to places, abandoned places, I think we know the score. So it really sucks you into the melody based on the instrumentation more than just hearing the vocal alone.
On and on, does anybody know what we are looking for? Another hero, another mindless crime behind the curtain in the pantomime.
By the way, a mindless crime, you know what I mean? Like what? Like what the heck? What does he mean by that? The fact that we all have to die, that we die young, we die too young, that we have to die at all. You know, like what is this? And then he talks about failed romances. He talks about his life, you know, just all of the ups and downs, ebbs and flows of his life and whatnot. And he's looking back on this and reminiscing on his past. And we're getting this picture as we're going through all this.
Hold the line. Does anybody want to take it anymore? Show must go on.
And the anthemic, you know.
The show must go on, yeah.
Now, I want to juxtapose this to We Will Rock You for a second, okay? Bear with me, but hang in there. Let's say, we will rock you. Boom, boom, gang. A body of my bum, make a big noise, standing in a bug, gonna make all the streets someday. Got mud on your face, you big disgrace. Somebody better put you back into your place. We will rock you. You get this energetic, you know, I know he wrote it for like soccer matches, you know, football matches and stuff, arena, but this arena championing, you know, celebrating this huge, crazy thing. This is kind of that revisited with melancholy of the pain of looking back and saying, all right, it's all over. But that show must go on. And in a creepy kind of way, he's kind of revisited that in this song. Think about it. It's really, I think that's fascinating.
Inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on. Whatever happens,
Cool key change.
I leave it all to chance. Another heartache, another failed romance. On and on. Does anybody know what we are living for?
Anyway, so this is kind of what I think of. Now, I did get a chance to play this, so I'm not going to play the whole song, but definitely check out Dino's version in the description. Definitely check out Sarah's version in the description. We've got a whole bunch more Queen stuff we're going to be doing. I'm doing a Queen-a-thon, so I'm going to be doing a lot of these songs, but I think every single one of these has such a unique personality to it and is so diverse and such artistry and majesty and, you know, elegance, eloquence, everything I could throw in there, you know, just theater and just everything that the show that's going on, you know, would present. So thank you for joining me, and definitely check out my next video.